Hi everybody and welcome to Grace Bakes. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make my hazelnut and cacao nut butter, aka a healthy Nutella. To get started you'll want to measure out 290 grams of skinless hazelnuts. Then grab a baking sheet, pour your hazelnuts onto the baking sheet and place them in the oven that's been heated to about 170 degrees. And leave them in there until they turn a golden brown colour. You don't want to burn them, this is very important. I've taken the hazelnuts out of the oven and as you can see they're a light golden brown colour. At this point you'll want to tip the warm hazelnuts into your food processor and blend until it's a smooth consistency. So with some oven mitts, because the tray is very hot, simply transfer the hazelnuts into the food processor. Place the lid on and blend until smooth. You may find you have to occasionally stop the food processor and scrape down the sides because the mixture will kind of just rise on the sides and you just need to get it down, otherwise it won't blend anything. Now at this point, for a normal nut butter, this would be an okay consistency, but you have to consider that the nuts were put in the oven before we placed it in the food processor. And because of that, once you finish blending your nut butter and place it in a jar and stick it in your cupboard, whatever, when the nut butter cools down, those oils that have been sort of melted essentially, because of the warm nuts, will harden again and you'll have a really stiff nut butter, and that's not what you want for this. With this, we're going to add cacao butter as well as maple syrup. When you add those two ingredients to hazelnuts, the hazelnuts almost seize, so it's really important that we overblend the hazelnuts. And that way we have a super duper loose nut butter, but don't worry, it will harden up once we add the cacao powder and the maple syrup. So keep blending. So there we have it. At this point, the hazelnuts have turned into hazelnut butter, but we're going to add cacao and maple syrup. So you're going to want to measure out 24 grams of maple syrup and 2.5 tablespoons of cacao powder. Add these ingredients very slowly, because if you add them all at once, the mixture will just seize and there's no going back from that. I did that the first time I made this recipe, obviously before I made this video, and the whole thing seized and I tried putting more maple syrup in. Interesting fact, when maple syrup is added to hazelnuts, it seizes and there's nothing you can do. You can't add more liquid to make the hazelnuts looser. It just gets thicker and thicker. That's what I found out the first time I made this. So add these really slowly. To start with, you're going to want to add your 2.5 tablespoons of cacao powder to the food processor whilst it's on. So the cacao powder is nicely incorporated and it's time to slowly add the 24 grams of maple syrup. After I added the maple syrup, I blended the hazelnut and cacao nut butter for about 2 minutes until it loosened up just slightly. So now you'll want to transfer your nut butter into a glass jar to store it. As you can see, this is a nice spreadable consistency. It's not overly loose like it was in the beginning, it's just a nice spreadable consistency. See, look, it will fall. There we go. What I like to do now is simply tap the bottom of the jar just to make sure the nut butter is nice and level. Now place the lid on it and store it in a dry, cool place like your jam cupboard or anything like that. And it will last for up to about 2 months. It's really as easy as that to make a really addictive but healthy, sugar-free, as well as vegan hazelnut and cacao nut butter, which is a good alternative to the unhealthy Nutella that everyone seems to be addicted to. But I can assure you, I'm addicted to this. So I hope you've enjoyed this recipe, and for more recipes, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and next to the subscription button, there's a little bell icon. Make sure you press that so you're notified when I post new videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye! bye.